Hello everyone, I'm Chris Tackett, the pianist with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. Welcome once more to my living room. Stick around after the postlude, and I will tell you a little bit about the music I played this morning.
Hello, my name is Reverend Samantha Wilson, and welcome to the Baja 4 Sunday service. The Baja 4 is a community of 4 congregations in the southern Arizona region. We are Sky Island in Sierra Vista, Borderlands in Amado, the UU Church of Tucson, and Mountain Vista in northwest Tucson. And we come together each week because we know we are stronger together than apart. And each week, our teams come together as one community to bring you a time we hope that helps you feel more of this world, and that awakens your spirit and your curiosity, especially when it's so easy to be numb, and that moves each of us into action. Now, we have been listening to each of our congregations, and we are hearing the tenderness, the tiredness, the anger, the grief, the uncertainty, and the urgency to move forward. And we gather amidst COVID-19 and amidst sacred uprisings and amidst fires of all kinds. And we gather in the ashes of things that are burning down all around us. So our service for you today is an invitation to stay with the ashes. If you are with us for the first time, we welcome you to witness our community doing the work we know is sacred. In restorative justice work, I was once taught that healing does not come because we feel better. Healing comes because we learn to feel more. And our work today is to do just that, knowing that each of us are doing that in the way that is needed for each of us. In 2017, leaders of Black Lives of UU, or BLUE, crafted the Promise and the Practice service. It was a service on the heels of the UU white supremacy teach-in that de-centered white voices and centered the stories of Black Unitarian Universalist lay leaders and religious leaders, with a focus on the ritual and the necessity of lament. Lament for what is broken and lament for what has refused to be mended. Over 110 UU congregations participated that first time. Today's service is in the lineage of lament, taught to us by the Promise and the Practice. And that's to say that you and we have been prepared for this time. We have been rooted in the spiritual and the prophetic leadership of Black Unitarian Universalist leaders far before this moment. And we have practices, we have spiritual practices that we can turn to that help us feel more and then help us move forward together with more humility and more resilience. So today's service is a service of lament, and it's based on a ritual crafted by the Reverend Carol Thomas Sissel. We'll be actively engaging this ritual with you throughout the entire service, and we invite you to participate right alongside us or make space for this ritual in your own home and in your own life going forward. This month, we've been talking about what it means to reinvent church. And today's question was why? Why do we reinvent church? And I would say that the role of a spiritual community or a faith community is that we come together to practice a new way of being in the world, a way that is more feeling, that is more just, and that is more responsive to the pain and the hope of the world. And in an evolving world where we've inherited so much brokenness, that is not a place we will ever fully arrive at. It's a place that is always emerging from the future. The task, therefore, is not to arrive and to congratulate ourselves. The task is adaptivity, responsiveness, willingness, watchfulness, and the ability to say yes to always being changed. It's not an accomplishment. It's an approach to living in relationship together. So it's said, if you want a good sermon, you want to be inspired, we could all watch a TED Talk. And if we just want a social hour of connection, we could meet at a coffee shop. And if we want a group of like-minded people to check in with, we could probably look at most of our Facebooks. And if we want to know something or learn something, we could just read a book or take a class. And if we just want to feel something, anything, anger or hopelessness, we can watch the news. But if we want to be called into continual transformation, we can go to church. So come, let's go to church together.
If you have a chalice or a candle to light, please prepare it now. These are the words of Unitarian Universalist leader Adrian L.H. Graham. We kindle a flame. We kindle a flame of power, illuminating the holy in each of our faces. We recognize in the flame a passionate commitment to our shared faith. We are held and carried from day to day, week to week, in the shining of the light. This flame is mine as well as yours. We are brought together on this day, called to growth, to expansion within its glow. What does your heart know while beholding this holy fire?
Friends, today I want to tell you a true story. Here's what happened. I was making my coffee, as I always do. So now I'm feeling upset because I didn't plan to have a broken mug. And I didn't plan to have to clean up. And boy, was it a mess. So I'm wondering, as we start our ritual today, as we start our time together, if you'll name what you feel is broken. We can start with the mug. What else? What is broken?
What is broken? I lament what is broken. This water and this salt represent tears. It represents what can no longer be kept in or kept quiet or made nice or made sense of. It's the outpouring of our grief and our rage. I lament something so broken it was never actually together in the first place. I lament hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of inherited brokenness. I lament broken promises and half-hearted ideals that were said to be universal but never really were. I lament lies. I lament broken psychology, broken science, broken religion, broken government, broken laws. I lament perpetual brokenness. I lament a system that was designed to be perpetually broken. I lament how long experiences go unrecognized and unheard. I lament every conversation and every request and every cry met with, no, it's not really like that. I lament the dead, and I lament broken memory. I lament the loss of wisdom, leadership, family, lives, and names that will never be known. I lament that our memories are fractured and incomplete, and that the most remarkable histories and herstories are buried in mass graves and oceans and classified FBI documents. I lament inaction, and I lament numbness, and I lament turning away and checking out and finger pointing. I lament turning to guilt and shame as if that were an action, and I lament wasted time. I lament stalling because I was more afraid to do it perfectly rather than do something at all, or because there was fear of making a mistake, or because the brokenness was so deeply internalized that some part of me or we thought it would never be undone. I lament my participation. I lament what is broken.
We have this broken thing. What can be done? Now, I've tried with my mug. I tried tape. I tried glue. I haven't tried chewing gum. Do you have any ideas? What do you think? What can be done?
What can be done? The breaks are deep and daunting in this world of ours that is on fire and unfair. We need many resources for this journey of healing. I will petition the universe, and I invite you to name other gifts we need on our way. Then I will blow on a pinwheel so we see our invisible petitions go out with force to claim a hearing. I ask the universe to show me the strength I already have. It may hurt to see and peel back layer upon layer of distortion that I have taken into my understanding, my acting, my very being. A racism that is not just a character flaw, but a construct centuries deep and globally wide. But I am not brittle. I do have the strength to see, to grieve, to grow, and to act. I petition for the courage I need to always be off kilter, to decenter my view and realize I will never have the fully clear picture. I must always be open to understanding and growing and learning, and yet never always burden people of color to teach me. I must do my own work, Google my own questions, and never grab Black culture as if it belongs without question to white. I ask to befriend my discomfort, knowing it will take the rest of my life and many generations to come to change worldviews and to change the policies that build racism. Ibram X. Kendi calls racism a 600-year-old cancer that is metastatic, but we do not give up the fight against it. I petition for a love that is a real, powerful change agent. Austin Channing Brown writes, I am not interested in love that is aloof, in a love that refuses hard work. I need a love that is troubled by injustice, a love that is provoked to anger when Black folks, including our children, lie dead in the streets. A love that can no longer be concerned with tone because it is concerned with life. A love that has no tolerance for hate, no excuses for racist decisions, no contentment in the status quo. I need a love that is fierce in its resilience and sacrifice. I need a love that chooses justice. And finally, I petition, no, I beg the universe for a beloved, hard-working community. Racism is a systemic problem I cannot solve alone or in my lifetime. I need a large contingent of people willing to rethink how we address problems in our streets, reshape policy, reteach history, consider whiteness as real and problematic, as Robin DiAngelo has alerted us. Will you be my community? Will you gather others? Will you dare to be strong, courageous, off-kilter, uncomfortable, life-choosing, and fiercely justice-loving with me?
So I asked some people to help me fix this mug and to clean up the mess. And one thing that I heard was, but I didn't make that mess. It's not my fault. Why should I have to clean it up? And to be honest, I was thinking that a little bit too. This was an accident. I didn't mean to break this mug. Why do I need to clean it up? I wonder what we're afraid of. What do we hope for in helping to clean up this mess?
What am I afraid of? What do I hope for? I answer, confessing my fears and confessing my hopes. What am I afraid of? What do I hope for? I hold this heart-sized stone to help me recognize my fears and to guide me to see my hopes. What am I afraid of? What do I hope for? And here I name my fears and hopes aloud and then write them down. The power of the written word cannot be denied. Share with me in confessing hopes and fears. I fear failing. I fear my whiteness, taught and learned throughout my life. I fear my privilege to look away, my comfort in ignorance, my willingness to participate in systems of racism. I fear I will betray the spirit of love that embraces and lives through the web of our interdependent universe. I fear failing. And I hope I will fail. If by failing, each time I fail better. That's something that Cornel West recently taught me. Failing better, it means that I struggle with my whiteness and I learn to trust the spirit of love within me. Failing better means that I witness whiteness through the discomfort and with resistance. I hope I fail better again and again and again and again.
After all of that, I remembered kintsugi, the ancient Japanese art of repairing pottery and ceramics. Gold is placed in the cracks where the piece has broken, so that the new thing reminds the user over and over that imperfections are beautiful. The point of kintsugi is not to hide the broken parts, but to remind us to embrace our imperfections. Here's my new mug. I think it broke just perfectly. As we think about the things that you mentioned in our ritual today, the things that are broken, we can think of them as kintsugi. Can we repair them in the same way, through love and through covenant and through trust? As Unitarian Universalists, we don't ignore the imperfections that others bring and that we ourselves bring to our community, but we embrace them with love and with gentleness, a little bit of gold dust. And just like my reluctance to clean up my own mess in my kitchen, cleaning up the mess of this world is all of our jobs. Healing it is a work for each and every one of us, no matter how big or how small we are. When we repair our mistakes with love and with our covenant and with kindness, we remember that our relationships are more beautiful than ourselves alone. We remember that our relationships are more beautiful once we have acknowledged hurts, once we have asked for forgiveness, corrected our mistakes, sought help, and made a sacred promise to do better in the future. So how do we make it right? What role will you play in our collective healing?
How do we make it right? What is our role in collective healing? Here I set my intentions for the future and my role in our collective healing. We will mix sand together, sand of different colors, brown and black and white, in this bowl. And as I mix them, I name out loud my intention for how I want to be part of collective healing, my own willingness to be changed by my role in collective healing. My intentions are these. I will practice leaning into our past and our future wholeheartedly. I will remember what is fragmented and what is broken. I will honor it. I will be an unlearner. I will be proactive in uncovering truths and listening to hard truths and new truths. I am willing to be changed. I will practice leaning into a future that is not only one person's creation, but is co-created. I do not need to be in control to trust something. I do not need to be at the center to trust something and know that it is good. I believe in our shared work. I will respect and honor and love the dignity of the people around me. But I will not let my behavior be determined by the parts of me that are most afraid of change. I will lean in and I will practice trusting and listening to the parts of me and the parts of us that are most directly impacted. I will take responsibility for the parts of me that are afraid and scared and hesitant, and I will seek support for those tender parts of me while I continue to lean into the new future with our people. I will be a trustworthy companion for hard journeys. Being trustworthy is more important to me than being perfect. I release innocence, purity, and perfection. Trustworthy will mean that we show up. We make meaningful promises, and when we break those or when we stray from them, we return again and stay for the mending of them. The people around us can trust that we won't walk away when things are hard, and people can trust that we do what we promise we're going to do. And we'll be surprised when the relationship is deepened and made more beautiful because we stayed, even when it was hard. Collective healing requires my willingness to feel, my willingness to listen, my willingness to be imperfect, and my willingness to respond with others together. I set my intentions to be willing to be changed, for us to be changed. This is my intention.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall
We gather amidst COVID-19, amidst sacred uprisings, and amidst fires of all kinds that are burning things down all around us. There are some things that must burn in order to be transformed. For some of us, we must be willing to burn down, to make space for something new. Our lives and these institutions that we all live within must transform. And for some of us, we might be willing to burn a little brighter, to lead despite everything. Our lives and our testimonies might help guide. And for the healing collectively of all of us, we hope we must do it together. Promises require practice, just like spirituality is a practice. We come to do it again and again, and we don't just do it once and feel complete, but each time builds a strength, builds a muscle, builds a memory, builds a clarity that when we do it again, we do it more easily, more honestly, and more deeply in the future. Right now, we are in the promise and the practice of being an anti-racist, beloved community. Our piece of this is part of a long lineage of both progress hard fought and boilings over that we must continue to push forward. The Black feminist writer and organizer Toni Cade Bambara once said, "As a cultural worker who belongs to an oppressed people, my job is to make revolution irresistible." Inspired by that, our job as a people and as a spiritual community reinvented every day, we must make community and just community irresistible, to make anti-racism irresistible, to make just transformation irresistible. Your life, your willingness to be alive, truly alive, and to dedicate your life so that life really matters is irresistible. We can be the party you really want to be at. And if you think that this is not your work and this is not for right now, the Baja 4 asks you to reconsider. We believe this is yours. This is ours. You, we have been prepared for this day. In the spirit of going together and feeling more, we invite your sharing this week. We invite you to share what feelings you've had during the ritual, or perhaps some of your hopes and your fears, with your minister via email. The written word is incredibly powerful, and we want to practice feeling more and moving together in relationship. Please write a little and share it with us. And may we continue to practice together, today and all days, because change is once again always upon us. May we be trustworthy responders.
I extinguish this flame with the words by the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson, fitted for this day. In her reading, words by June Jordan, "We are the ones we have been waiting for," are repeated. They're from June Jordan's poem for South African women. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are not without fault, but we can be honest to face our past as we chart a new future. We are the ones we have been waiting for. May we be bold and courageous to chart that new future. May we have faith in a future that is not yet known. We are the ones that we have been waiting for.
Let us march on, and march on we shall. Of course, again, lift every voice and sing the commonly called the African American national anthem, or at least it was, from 1921, James Weldon Johnson and J. Rosamond Johnson. The other music, big music in the service, was of course We Shall Overcome. The tune is from the 19th century, but the modern words that we know it as, We Shall Overcome, are of course from the 1950s, 60s, and used all over the place in the civil rights era. Thank you so much.